right, guys, I think we'll go ahead and get started here. And welcome. Glad to have you in here, new folks. Let's see. I think we're going to have to kind of watch for a little bit of an echo there.
I'm just waiting over and getting ready to participate in this podcast, man.
Okay, I'm not sure where that's coming from. Let's see. It should. Mike, are you there? Mike, hello.
He's on deafen.
Yeah, we've got him on the screen here. Mike, are you there? Hello. Okay.
Low,
yeah, I'm not sure where this other audio is coming from, but yeah, his audio. I'm not sure if he can pipe it straight into Discord. Will be good. Well, welcome everybody. We are here. Myself, Owls, EJ Davis, and Mike has a camera set up, but we've got a little bit of a delay going on there. We're trying something new here this afternoon. Mike is actually in a live stream at this time. Mike, let me see. I think I can probably. Can you talk through Discord?
Yes, I should be good.
Oh, okay, there you are. Okay, good. We've got you, so I can bring that other down. Welcome, man. You're live in flight, live in stream. Tell us,
yes, sir.
Tell us what you're doing here this afternoon.
Well, guys, we are celebrating 1,000 subscribers on the channel here today. With a little bit of an awkward camera angle because obviously I'm live right now on YouTube as I'm using my main webcam for the stream. I have a secondary webcam set up. It actually kind of looks terrible. Let me go move that up a little bit.
That looks fine. It looks
awesome.
fine.
But yes, today we are celebrating 1,000 subscribers, a huge milestone on the channel. We've been working for the last 10 months since I started streaming in September of 2023. And, you know, it's been consistent ever since I started. So a huge shout out to Owls and his community, the Owls fan club, for helping me get kickstarted and the support that I've received over on his side and all that kind of stuff. And then also people like EJ who believed in the channel, allow me to partner with them in the VATSIM Caribbean division. It's been an awesome journey, man. So we are flying from Tokyo Narita International Airport over to Honolulu, Hawaii. It's about a 7-hour and 8-minute flight. We are airborne, climbing through 32,000 feet as we speak. And we're going to be doing some giveaways today as well. We're doing 2 $25 Sim Market gift cards. And when I land on the ground in Honolulu, Hawaii, I am going to be giving away a Thrustmaster TCA side stick as a thank you to the community for getting me to this 1,000 subscriber mark. So it's going to be a fun day worth of streaming, man.
Oh, man, that is incredible. Well, Mike, congratulations on the 1K subscribers. I'm proud to be one. I am proud to be one my own self there. So
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, glad to do it. And let's, of course, introduce the nearly famous and always amazing Mr. Owls. Owls, hello. Welcome.
Hello. How's it going, everybody? It's Owls.
Yeah. And Owls, let's see. We got a little ways to go to catch you. I think you have a couple of more subscribers than me and Mike put together.
Just a couple, right? Just a couple.
Congratulations on that. No, you just hit the 13K milestone here just recently. And in all seriousness, congratulations and good job, young man.
Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And of course, once again, we want to welcome EJ Davis from the VATSIM community. EJ, an honor and a pleasure to have you as part of the discussion podcast group here. And welcome. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. You know, I tried to stream what we do as supervisors, and I was heavily frowned upon. I was trying to compete with these guys, see if I could get 1,000 subscribers as well, but not going to happen. Not while I'm supervising.
Hey, you know what? We'll keep plugging you and keep talking about the community and the group here. You know, we're here to have fun. We're here to enjoy each other's company while we participate in this wonderful thing that we call flight simulations. We're all kind of wannabe pilots, as it were, wannabe controllers, whatever the case may be. And this, you know, today's technology is just beyond amazing at how much we can do. You guys have heard me talk before. I started out with DOS and green triangular lines, you know, flying over, you know, just basically a black field and green lines for Flight Simulator way back when. We've got some people coming up in the chat. Now, Mike, I know that you may have a couple of time critical issues. Let us know if you run up against anything there in the flight.
Hey, man, I am at 35,000 feet for the next 7 hours, so I got nothing but time today.
Okay,
so,
good.
guys, also those that are live in my chat as well, please make sure you head over to CapnJack Flight Sim and drop him a subscription, as he does fantastic content. He does also live stream, but also the man works too. So he only live streams about once or twice a week, maybe. So make sure you guys head over to his channel. If you want to ask him any questions in his chat, feel free to do so. I will also be taking live stream chats in my chat as well. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me as well. And then also, you got the VATSIM Caribbean division in the house, awesome guy. They do awesome work over there in the Caribbean division. So make sure you guys head over to the VATSIM Caribbean division Discord. And if you have any questions about what they do and the services that they offer, feel free to do so. And obviously, y'all know Alice. I want to talk about him, right? So, but yes, I am live as well. So if I have any questions, I'll go ahead and let you know. And but it's your show, man. Run it.
Okay, well, we'll run on here. Going to say hello to some people in the chat. Talon's Aviation is here. Welcome, my friend Talon. A brand new one in here. Let's see, CR4 Rocksteady. CR4 Rocksteady. Sometimes you guys in your YouTube names I don't quite know how to pronounce.
It's Crack Rocksteady. I know that guy's Crack Rocksteady. Okay,
thanks, Al's. Where old man here doesn't know it, you guys do. I had to ask Al's what IRL meant, so there you go.
Just based off of the guy's username, we typically just call him Rocksteady.
Okay, very good. Well, welcome to you, Rocksteady. Glad to have you here. Thanks for finding the channel. Kimberly Allison is here. Let's see. We'll watch after get home from church. Hey, Kim, thank you so much for getting in there. Let's see. Chelmo is here. Kills My Skills is in the house, and it has his face in the place there. So glad to have him along. Dave Avery, KF0 UFO amateur radio call. Andrew, welcome. And of course, the always amazing Yoham is in the group. So sure,
legend himself.
Yeah, the legend. I love the way you say that. I tell you, Mike. I've told you you've got a voice for radio, and
I appreciate that, man.
I've always thought that you would be good in some of those beginning sounders, going, and the legend himself. Here is.
Yeah, if you ever hear me on VATSIM, I've been told many times that my voice is extremely intimidating on the frequency.
Sounds like Darth Vader on the frequency. That's scary.
That's great. Let's see. Parsons Project is here. Dave Avery is here. Hey, Dave, KF0QQV. Hey, Dave, welcome. Those are, those of you who may not know, I'm an amateur ham radio operator. So my amateur radio call sign is KE0VH. So we see some of those popping up in the chat there. Really appreciate you guys. Dom is here. It's Dominic. Welcome, our friend. Let's see. Hindifer, I guess. Hindifer, hello.
Hendo VFR. That's my guy.
Oh, right on. And Parsons Project. Now, I like that. I love the Alan Parsons Project music. I wonder if your YouTube name has something to do with that. Redneck is here, and Redneck is another ATC guy, so we're real glad to have him in here. He was on one of my streams here a couple of weeks ago up in Alaska, so appreciate that. Well, guys, let's talk a little bit. Let's get into some stuff here. I thought one thing that I wanted to have, especially Mike, you and Al's do, is talk about Expo. Tell us a little bit about your experience, your takeaways, some of the people you met. We saw some great pictures of you guys with XP72 and Swiss 001, I think, and a whole lot of other guys. So, Al's, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about your Expo experience and, how it went for you. What'd you bring home?
Well, it was awesome. So, I did my very known flights over to Expo where I was hoping to get on the Maxes from Southwest Airlines, which I'm apparently not allowed to get on from Southwest. So I took 2 flights from DCA to Kansas City, and then I did Kansas City to Vegas. I got to Expo. We got our stuff down, laid in bed for about all of 20 seconds, and then we called up Mikey and we went to get some Dave's Hot Chicken, which I was really, really excited to get because I've just keep seeing Instagram stuff about it all over the place. So we did that. I met Mike for the first time, which was pretty fun. He had a fun time with my dad. And then it was the day of the Expo. And I can't remember what I actually did first, but I know we all met up with everybody. We had Dominic there. We had, I think Chemo came later. I know Dom was there. We had Lotto, CST Gaming, all of them. And then we headed into the main expo part. We got to check out, first was just the seminars. So we just sat there. We just heard about the new Microsoft Bluebird projects. I think Horizon Sim had one. Did they have one? No, he didn't.
No, I think it was Horizon. There was a plethora of other like developers that I had never even heard before. That were
that's what I was saying. There's like AI ATC for VATSIM or for X-Plane. And then after that, it was the next day, which I think was the actual day for the expo, where you actually got to go into the showcase place. So we got to see all the. They had like a whole Airbus cockpit that you could sit in. They had, Orbix was there. Canada had a booth from Thrustmaster, and basically it was just roaming around. You get to see a bunch of new products. I think WinWing took the show. They had the biggest booth over there.
Yeah, I want to talk with you guys about WinWing. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. So we got to see WinWing do their thing over there. I think they got a really good exposure at Expo. I mean, they're going to be doing some good things there, especially with Thrustmaster not really being a competition at all with them now. And then we got to meet all the other people. I know one thing that I left out when me and Lotto were eating breakfast that morning. It was me, Lotto, my dad, and we were just eating breakfast. And I went to use the bathroom and go pick up Fly with Falco, if you know who that is. So we were going to pick him up, and we're walking back, and it's in the hotel, but it's like an outside style hotel. So you walk through like a big hallway, and you look on the side, there's like a railing that's like an outdoorsy railing. And right on that railing, it was what's his name? We had Blue Games and XP72 sitting there eating, and they called me over. They're like, "Owls," and I was like, "Oh shoot!" So I went and talked to them for a little bit. That was my first time meeting them. And then we also got to meet Swiss01 in the showcase room. We met everybody. We met the infamous guy from Captain Canada Stream. What's his name? Mike.
Daniel Barry.
Yeah, Dan Barry. And then who else did we meet?
No, not Dan Barry. It was Schmitty.
Smitty. There you go, Smitty.
Yeah.
And then we met, the European guys. We met London Controller that was there. We saw Kinko. It was pretty fun, man. It was awesome.
That's amazing. Real quick too, Mike. I'm going to come to you here, and I'm going to ask you to give us some of your initial impressions. Then I've got some more questions for you and Al's both regarding Expo, and also want to say hello to 2K Vaughn. So welcome. We're so glad to have 2K. You in here. 2K. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Kills my skills. What model planes do you have in the background there, Jack? Mostly 737s. I've got a 747, of course, work brain, Air Force One, and an old DC-3 here. So I'll maybe show you guys that a little bit closer here in a minute. But yeah, Mike, some of your takeaways and everything from Expo.
Well, I'll be quite honest with you. This was my first expo since I've been flight simming. I've been flight simming since the early 2000s, and I think what Nick and the guys over at Expo do is insane. What they do for our community, because you got to think the flight sim community is a very niche community. There's not a lot of people that do it, and let alone not a lot of people that understand why we do it, right? Because most people say, like, why in the hell? What's fun about loading up into a virtual airplane and cruising in the skies for 7 hours from Tokyo to Honolulu, right? But what they have done has set up a platform for those that do not understand what flight simulation is and what it's all about, for them to go and learn and understand like what it's all about, right? So when it comes down to my first experience there, let alone, meeting the guys that do this along with us, right? Like meeting Owls for the first time, which he's a lot taller than he looks, I'll tell you that. And hanging out with Owl's dad. Owl's dad is a fantastic person. Him and I had a lot of good conversations and all that kind of stuff. But meeting Lotto and CST and all that kind of stuff, it was like day one, man. I was at home getting ready to just hang out, and CST had been asking me if I was able to pick him up from the airport, but I had some stuff to take care of that morning. And then once I got home, CST had texted me and said, "Hey, I made it to the Rio. Do you want to go grab breakfast?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, let's go." So I hopped in the car and I went to the Rio. And he had texted me while I was on the way saying, "Hey, I got a buddy of mine that wants to join." I just thought it was someone from his channel, like Anon or Carl or Mamba or something like that, right? But no, I pull up to Rio's valet, and Blue Games is standing right next to him. And I never thought in a million years that I'd be having someone of the caliber of Blue Games YouTube channel sitting in my back seat about to go have breakfast with him, right? And you think about it, and these are just upstanding guys, man. At the end of the day, outside of their content creation and outside of what they do for YouTube and Twitch and this, that, the third, they're just awesome people, you know. So we sat and had breakfast together, and you know, I took them to this place called Hash House A Go Go, which they also had inside the Rio, but being on the strip, it's more expensive than it would be just going off the strip. So I mean, they ordered these pizza-sized pancakes, and you know, it was just a great time. And then day one of the expo, you know, just sitting through the seminars and watching Bluebird and a plethora of other people present about what their products are upcoming and this, that, the third. I mean, Bluebird stole the show day one, in my opinion, with their 757 showcase, and then talking about the development on the 767, and then dropping a bombshell on us saying that they're going to be developing a 787 in years to come. It was just insane. And then you go to find the next day where oh no, I'm sorry, I'll go back to day one. And that's when I took Owls out to Dave's Hot Chicken per request. And my man ate. I'll tell you what, I think we all ate good that night. Yeah. And then the following day when we were going through the show floor, all that kind of stuff, literally the minute you walk through the door, just a full motion, or not a full motion, a full size A320 cockpit just sitting there that you can sit on and fly. I said day one, I was like, I'll stand in line 10 hours to fly this thing. I will. But I found out later that it was a sign up only kind of thing. You had to sign up months prior, and they're always like 3 months in advance booked out. So I unfortunately was only a spectator for that. But then you just walking through the showroom floor. They also had another presentation stage at the back of the showroom floor for developers such as Fly By Wire. And we had a real world airline captain present, who was actually a good friend, family friend of mine, who flies the 737 for American. He presented on one of the days, and it was just, you know, you're walking through this massive, like 60,000 square foot showroom floor. It's just nothing but flight simulation, man. And I think all of us can say, as cool as we try and act, I think we were all kind of nerding out that day a little bit. You know, I was pushing my glasses up a couple of times, I'm not going to lie. But then you go to the center of the showroom floor, and Winwing was there, you know, and Winwing on the seminar days, the day prior, had set expectations very high at saying what they were producing and what they were developing, right? But then you go to their booth, which was massive. They had a huge booth, one of the biggest on the showroom floor. And the fact that they have those kinds of things for the simulator as side sticks, an Airbus MCDU, an Airbus FCU and EFIS panel, a 737 FMC, a 737 MCP panel, fighter jet stuff, all DCS kind of stuff. And they had it actually on a cockpit that you could sit down and actually fly with the FCU and manipulate the autopilot knobs and all that kind of stuff. The biggest issue that we see in the flight simulation community to this day is cost-effective products, right? This yoke, let alone the Thrustmaster Boeing TCA, the Boeing yoke, the pendulum yoke. It's one of the best yokes on the market, but it's $400, right? Mm-hmm. And those that are trying to build full cockpits and all that kind of stuff, when they're looking at Airbus MCDUs, man, you're looking $500, $600, $700, $800, almost $1,000. I've seen some of them at, right? Winwing, you look down at their Airbus MCDU. Right above it was a sign that said Airbus 320 MCDU, $130 for a full flight management computer with buttons. Everything was at $130.
That's just incredible, just crazy.
It's insane. It's insane. And then you sit down in their Airbus cockpit that they have set up with the FCU panel and all that kind of stuff. You're manipulating the autopilot, and then I actually disengaged the autopilot and I flew with their side stick, and their side stick felt phenomenal, right? And I was like, obviously, you have the Thrustmaster TCA side stick. It's a staple in the flight sim market now, is TCA side stick. But then you get the Winwing side stick, and I mean, this thing is incredible, right? You can see the size here. Like, I fly with this full time now. I haven't touched my TCA since I brought this home. It's incredible. It's a phenomenal tool, and just the cost alone. This is $70, $70 US. It's and just being able to get products like that are cost effective, that won't break your wallet and won't have your wife question why you're spending so much money. It's, in my opinion, Winwing stole the show. But on top of that, just going out to dinner with people. I mean, I had dinner with XP72 and Leo Sticks and CST and Lotto and all that kind of stuff. We went out to Korean barbecue, and then meeting Captain Canada and sitting at the bar and having a couple of drinks with the legendary, Captain Canada himself, just sitting across the table talking to me like I'm some regular dude, right?
By the way, we're going to have him probably I'm this close, but probably in the next podcast discussion group here. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
looking for him.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to be there. But yeah, it's just awesome. Like, and then, I walk into the bar and I look to my right and I see Jeff Favignano. I don't even know if you guys know who Jeff Favignano is, but the guy's got 1.4 million subscribers on YouTube. And I'm sitting there and I was like, there's no way. I felt like I was standing in a room of royalty in the flight sim community. You know what I'm saying? Because these guys are they're legends, man. But they're all stand-up guys, man. I sat and talked with Jeff during the expo for a couple of minutes and took a picture with him. I met Citation Max, and he's freaking tall too. I'll tell you that. I had no idea. When I saw him, I was like, how does he fit in a Citation? Right. And then you're just getting pictures with all of them, talking with XP. I got invited to a couple of beta teams that I can't really talk about. And all that kind of stuff. It's just, you expose yourself and you allow the exposure to come to you as well. Right. And it's just for people like us to be able to sit and nerd out on the type of things that were available. It was incredible. I will forever be an expo attendee annually from here on out. It was fantastic.
Can't wait for it to come to Denver sometime. I'm probably gonna have to wait for it to come here to get to do that, because it's always during my busiest time of year. Al's, Mike, I wanted to touch on Wind Wings because I am so excited about being able to really build up my cockpit even more with that. Is that something that you plan on doing? What are your takeaways?
And so I'll tell you, CST put it the best, right? CST put it the best when we were talking about this stuff at the expo, because me and CST spent a lot of time at the Wind Wing booth. Because we actually spoke with the Wind Wing developers and all that kind of stuff. And actually the owner of Wind Wing is who gave me the side stick to bring home and evaluate live on YouTube, which I did. What CST said was the fact that you can build 2 airplane cockpits for the most part, the most important things, as is side stick or yoke, MCP panel or FCU panel, and the computer, like the flight management system and the multi-control display unit, for under $1,000, build 2 cockpits that will function as good as the expensive stuff. That's where they stole the show. It's like you can build a full, with the side stick, the MCDU and the FCU and the MCP panels for under $500, one cockpit. It's insane. That's insane. You sit down and you literally have the panels right in front of you. You can look down to your right instead of panning down in the cockpit in the sim, right? And looking at the computer in sim and manipulating in sim. I just put my fingers over to the right and I'm sitting here typing, right? $130. That's insane to me. You see some of these computers for other companies that have released them out. They're $500, $600, $700, $800, $900, almost $1,000 I've seen on some of them, right? And then you get this one, $130 US. It's insane. It's insane. I don't know how they do it, but I can tell you Wind Wing is going to be a huge competitor in this market. The computers itself are not available right now. Those are still in development. But you can pre-order the FCU panel for the Airbus and pre-order the side stick. None of their Boeing products are out right now.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it so much. Al's, what about you? What are some of your thoughts on that?
I don't even know. It's weird. It's like they came out of nowhere, just dropping. I mean, amazing peripheral after amazing. Like their side stick. They also the owner gave me one to check out and review on the stream as well. And I just recently started using it because I've been caught up with the MD-11, flying the 777 for forever. So I finally got back in the Airbus and I actually tested out on stream. My first time using it was on stream, and it's crazy. It's like it's cheaper. It feels more high quality, and in my opinion, it's better. So yeah, they're definitely gonna be taking Thrustmaster to business. Now, when it comes to the yoke, I still think that TCA has a Thrustmaster, but I honestly can easily see them making a yoke too at the same time.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here looking at my old SciTech stuff and going,
yeah, right. But it's you think about it, right? And Jack, you look down at your setup and you see your honeycomb yoke, right?
Yeah.
You look at that yoke and its capability, and you look at the cost that you spent on it. It's almost $300 that yoke, right? $250 or something like that. But then you look at the brain of the airplane. How you file your plan, you input your performance numbers, all that kind of stuff is half the cost of the honeycomb yoke.
That's amazing. Yeah, people are, they're going to make $1 million easy if they keep these. Do you think they'll keep it at the same price, though? Do you think the prices will go up?
So one thing that I've noticed with a lot of development teams that produce products such as the pendular yoke for Thrustmaster or the TCA side stick or anything like that, is if it's successful, then the price should stay the same. It should not go up. Now, if they come out with a version 2 that's even better, because obviously their first version, it's going to be a test version, right? It's going to be like, okay, let's put this out on the market. Let's wait a year and see what complaints we receive to see if we can't make it even better. Now, if they do that, then I can see the cost rising. But I mean, has Thrustmaster made any updates to their yoke or TCA since they've received it or since they released it? No. And that's simply because the products work, right? So if they work, then I don't see the cost rising at all. All I can see is WinWing doing even better stuff if they once they start hitting the market, because they've been big in the military. They've been big in the military stuff. You go on their website, they have hundreds of options for DCS stuff. They have an F15 joystick, F15 throttles, F16s, 18s, A10. They have a full, if I'm not mistaken, they have a full force feedback thing for DCS joysticks and stuff like that. They have a full force feedback module that you can install your side stick on, that you can actually feel the movements of the airplane and all that kind of stuff. They had that on display as well. You couldn't touch it because it was on its own automated stuff. So for injury purposes, they said no. But they've been in business for a while, from what I understand. But no one in the flight, majority of people that are into flight sim don't really dive into the DCS stuff, right? Because there are two different markets of aviation. It's military and civil, right? So when they start making civil stuff, and that's when everybody's eyes went big, right? And all the oohs and ahs we heard in the audience when they announced it, it's like, okay, this is a company that's going to put Thrustmaster up for their money, you know, and not even just Thrustmaster. You have, who was the other one that does all the helicopter stuff that was on the back left side of the showroom floor? I can't remember their name. But they're going to come to the market screaming. I'm telling you, they're probably going to take over the market and probably be one of the most popular flight sim peripheral developers in the world. Man, if they do it right.
It's an incredible time in which we live, and seeing this kind of technology come out, and especially for this price, is just blowing my mind, Mike. Redneck says WinWing's DCS equipment is $600. Why is their MSFS and X-Plane products so much cheaper? What do you think? And EJ, we'll get to you in just a minute. Hang in there. We're excited talking about all this stuff. Yeah. Stand by, buddy. But Mike, what do you think on that question? And then Alice,
you have to think of the functionality of the peripheral, right? You look at a fighter jet cockpit, and you look at the joystick, and you look at the throttle quadrant alone.
Yeah,
there have to be 50 different switches between the two modules themselves, right? For an Airbus, we have the trigger for push to talk. We have the autopilot disconnect button.
Yep.
You got to think about it. You know, if they have to do more, if there's more software and technology involved in a peripheral such as an F-15 throttle or an F-15 fighter joystick, there's going to be, the cost is going to go up because there's more software inside the peripheral that's going to make it operate the way it needs to operate in the sim, right? So you think about it, right? You take a Logitech 3D Pro and get into a dogfight on DCS, you're not going to win. Unless you're God tier sweat mode on DCS, you're not going to win. It's just that you're going to have to be clicking the mouse and flying the airplane, clicking the mouse, flying the airplane, this, that, the third. But the joysticks itself have everything there, just touch of a button, right? And it's the same with Thrustmaster. You look at Thrustmaster's DCS equipment, like the HOTAS system they have for the F-18. That's not a cheap product. So, you know, you got to think of the functionality of the peripheral and what it takes developing that kind of software inside of a flight sim peripheral that you can just plug into your computer and every button will do what it's designed to do. Yep. So, you know, the more it does, the more expensive the more cost it's going to take for them to make it, and they have to make some money on it. So, you know, they're going to up the price. That's just how retail market works.
Yeah, for sure. Alice, what do you think?
I want to say, because Annan had a good point, the size of the market. It seems like more people, I've just noticed just looking around like setups, a lot of people when it comes to like DCS setups, they have like basically a cockpit in the room. They got the whole, I'm not familiar with any fighter jets, but they got the whole side panels on the right and left. They got the full force feedback, you know, stick they use. They got all the binds. Just, it seems like that stuff, like what Mikey was saying, is a little bit more complicated than just, you know, one computer chip and a little, like, say like this, if I can show you guys, like something like that. It's hard to see, but I can't move the cable. But like a tiller. All you got to do for this is one button. And with those DCS things, you got about 15 different buttons that can do different things. I just think it's probably the technology and those type of joysticks and side sticks and all that. I think it's just a little bit more complicated than just an airliner that has a few detents and a button,
Yeah, I would think so. Let's see. I lost my train of thought here. Guys, really appreciate you watching this afternoon. You're watching yet another special edition podcast and discussion group about Flight Sim with MickityyyMike, OwlzzFS, EJ Davis is here, and myself, CapnJack Flight Sim. CST could not be with us today. He is traveling to Italy on vacation with his family, and he'll be back in about 3 weeks. So we'll look forward to having him back in here. And don't forget, too, want to ask you to please do hit that and smash that thumbs up button for me. I don't say it near as much as you guys. I'm kind of not in the habit of it as of yet. But if you would please do that, we'd appreciate it. Let us know that you support all of us. Please go to MickityyyMike's channel and hit his subscription and setup with MickityyyMike if you haven't already yet. Many of you have. Of course, Owl's in his channel, just incredible content, so much fun. And, guys, I've asked this question before, and I'm going to ask it once again. And I'm going to start with EJ on this one. But EJ, let me bring you up, and let me ask you the question. Okay, so we're watching all these flight simmers. We're watching, them fly. We're watching them do all this stuff. And I notice that some of the names are in every single stream. I got to give credit where credit is due. Yoham, Isaac, Dom. So many guys are just about in every one of the streams. I always see them in Mike's. I always see them in Al's. Always see them in CST. I really appreciate them joining me on a Wednesday evening, and I'll tell about my streaming schedule here in just a little bit because it is going to change a little bit. But EJ, why are we so fascinated with watching somebody else play a video game, or in this case, flight simulation?
Well, I think that's where we'd like to be. Anytime I tune into Owls or I tune into Mike, I'd really like to be where they are right now. And that's why in some cases I join them when I have the opportunity to fly with them. Also, I think I've learned a bit. I'm a casual person. Like I don't really care to have everything down to the wires that this is the right procedure. So from watching their streams, sometimes that's why this happens in this order. They don't know that they're doing it. they just knock the button and then maybe they give a reason for it. And me subconsciously, I'm like, okay, well, that's the reason why that particular button needs to happen first. And I found this out working within my virtual airline, that a lot of the things that I do when I'm landing and I grease it. Greasing is very important to me because we have a competition going on in my virtual airline and I'm in third place.
Well, I'm in last place with all these guys, so
We talked about how we feel about greasing, but when somebody was watching my stream, they pointed out some stuff as to like, oh, you don't do X, Y, and Z. And I realized that that's not the proper procedure in that particular Airbus aircraft that I was operating at the time. So afterwards, I found out, okay, you hit this button. It makes it a little bit easier to do the manual landing.
Yeah. These
are the types of things that you learn from watching other people. And I think that's very important when I get a chance to watch people like MickityyyMike and Owls. We have the opportunity to look at somebody else flying an aircraft, what they're doing, and get them to write down some notes and add to the way that we land.
I would love to be in an aircraft with MickityyyMike or Owls, because I know that if the pilots both croaked, they could land the aircraft. But Mike, why do you think we're so fascinated with watching other people? And I'm just going to put in, boy, my camera's a little out of focus today. I got to work on that. for me, I've learned so much watching you and Al's, and I've told you both before that I spent a lot of last year watching you guys because I couldn't get down here to the flight sim, whether it was a torn up shoulder or a knee replacement. And I spent many hours watching you guys and watching the prep and the takeoff and landings, especially because I learned so much watching you. And for me, now we're friends. I'm always turning on your channels to see if you're on at that particular point in time. But Mike, why do you think we find it so fascinating to watch other people do this?
Well, I say this on my channel all the time, and I think it's just the fact that we can share the same passion with other people that we don't know have the same passion as us, right? And as I've said, aviation is a very niche market. There's not a lot of people that get into it, not a lot of people that understand it, right? Like one of my colleagues, my corporal over at work, he joined into one of my streams one day when the 777 dropped and I was going through procedures and checklists and this, that, the third. And he put in my chat, he's like, "You lost me 10 minutes ago, bro."
Right.
And I was like, yeah, that's just how it goes, And the reason why I love flight simming so much is because, growing up, I had a decent amount of friends growing up in school, right? No one in their right mind, with the exception of one, knows anything about aviation. And when I would sit here and fly on my flight sim while they were over at my house, or talking about planes, or just looking up in the sky and saying, "Oh, cool, there's a 330 right there," they looked at me and be like, "Bro, like, why is this so fascinating to you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't get it." And I was like, "Well, unless you have A1 going through your blood, you're not going to understand." And how I put it to them was like, "You guys love trucks and motors and cars and loud cars and exhaust systems and this, that, third. So do I. I always got to ride in mine during the expo, right?" But when it came down to that, I explained it. I was like, "You guys love trucks so much that you can hop into a truck down to the detail and explain the engines, the intake, the exhaust, what type of oil it takes, and this, that, the third. You can literally go into that engine and tell me exactly what it is, how it is, and what it is." I don't know fuck all about that stuff. Excuse my language, but I don't. I still bring my car to the professionals to get oil changes done, right? As I don't do it. So when I explained it to them like that, I was like, it's just, that's what you guys are passionate about. I happen to be passionate about airplanes, aviation, and multi-million-dollar jets that can propel through the sky at Mach 8, or Mach 0.8. I'm sorry, not Mach 8. Jesus, I wish.
Right.
So it's just when you get into a chat with somebody, and when I start live streaming and I got people in the chat asking me, why does this work this way and this, that, and third, and also learning. That's why I started watching flight sim live streamers, because I wanted to learn. I wanted to understand why something did something that way, or why this system operated this way, why we had to set up the approach this way, what a SID is, what a STAR is, what an ILS is versus a VNAV approach, this, that, the third. That's just by watching people that know what they're doing. And when you have that opportunity to bond with those people and gain and get friendships with them and all that kind of stuff. Like for example, at the expo, during day 2 when we were, or day 1 with the seminars, I was sitting in the far right-hand side of the showroom with everybody like Owls, Dom, and Falco, and XP was there, Blue Games was there, CST was there, this, that, the third. During the first intermission, I walked up to XP72, and I shook his hand and I said, "Hey, XP, it's finally great to meet you. I've been watching you for a long time." And he looked at me. He's like, "What's your YouTube handle again?" And I said, "Hey, it's MickityyyMike." And he looks at me. He just extends his arm and he's like, "MickityyyMike, what's up, dude?" And he gave me a big hug.
Nice.
And then we exchanged phone numbers. It's just an awesome guy. So that's like, you meet people like that just by sharing the same passion with them. And then, you see guys like XP72. I was like, I walked out of that expo with XP72's phone number. I was like,
yeah.
What do you mean? I could just text this guy right now and say, "What's up? How you doing?" And I never in a million years, year or two ago, when I was just watching him on his live streams, that I never would have thought that would have been a case, right? So when you meet people that have the same passion as you and you enjoy the same things that they do, it's easy to gain friendships. And then, the learning aspect is just that I'm still learning to this day. I just learned that you can land a Boeing with an auto throttle engaged, and that the auto throttle will I just learned that like 2 weeks ago, live on stream.
And you taught, watching you, I learned, and there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Al's, how about you? What do you guys? Once again, don't forget. I'm going to try to iterate this in here several times. That please smash that thumbs up button. Go to Mike's channel. Those of you watching on Mike's channel live right now, if you haven't hit that sub button, please do so, and thumbs up and all that kind of good stuff. And Al's, what do you think in this? What do you think in this? There you go. What do you think about this? Why are we so fascinated with it?
Oh, well, I think one thing when I got into live streaming, not live streaming, but when I first got into watching live streams, my first ever live stream watch was Midnight Maverick. I don't know if anybody knows who that is, but it was when I was already on X-Plane and I was flying around, doing my thing, and I was looking at getting Microsoft. So I started looking at Microsoft live streams, and I saw what's his name, Midnight Maverick. So I was checking him out, I was watching it, and like everybody else has been saying, I'm kind of last to say, so it's going to kind of like I'm copying off of people, but I was learning stuff. I was like, oh, so this simulator does that. Okay, so you can do this in this simulator. How's this performance? How's that? Now, what computer should I get? This and that. And then eventually, once I started learning everything, you kind of just it's like a little small community. Just hang out with people that also like airplanes, no one on bat sim, flying routes that you would like. And then sometimes it's also fun, like EJ said, to fly around with people, to get a big conga line flying to the same place. Just fun, just hanging out.
By the way, I've kind of appropriated that the other night, and I'll promo your channel with it. But the other night I had two other guys flying with me. I said, we have a mini Owl's conga line going.
Mini Owl's conga line.
I love it.
It's always fun to fly with people. It's just awesome.
Yeah, and I'd like to invite some more people to come and do that with me on a Wednesday evening. By the way, Mike and Al's, I just noticed that when I put up your little promo card that I do while you're talking, you know how in real news broadcasts they put somebody's name and who they are. Yeah. I noticed I've got to change those. Mike, I'm still using the card from 689 subscribers for you.
It's all good.
It's 6.7 K for Al.
Yeah.
So we
no worries.
We got to change those out. All right, let's see. I want to talk about your sponsors a little bit. And EJ, this kind of leaves me and you out. It almost feels like I'm doing the Owls and Mike show here, or Mike and Owls, depending on which one it is. But I want to ask you guys about your sponsors and let you mention them, talk about them a little bit here on the live stream. By the way, your SimCFI said, when I was losing my, I said train of thought a little while ago, we need to change that. SimCFI says, you mean plane of thought. So I
like it. I like it.
I'm going to adopt that. Redneck says, or let's go to this question. And guys, don't forget, you can ask questions in the chat, okay? Please do, as a matter of fact. I can't think of all this stuff for us to talk about. What do you guys think about Beta Technologies and how they're integrating their technology and development directly into the development of X-Planes? So, you guys, EJ, do you have any comment on that? Or I'm not using X-Plane. I don't think Al's and Mike are either, so we may not be the best ones to ask.
Redneck knows why he's asking that question. He's an X-Plane fanatic.
Oh, okay. Well, Redneck, it's interesting because before I got into 2020, I was almost exclusively X-Plane 11. I thought I'm going to go to X-Plane 12 when it happens. But then, and Mike, I'm going to get you and Al's to talk about that a little bit too. And I'll start with EJ though. So Microsoft Flight Simulator, why do you think, at least it looks like it's overtaken the market? It's got a lot more fans, a lot more use. I know that the X-Plane people were at Expo as well. But what do you think, EJ? Why is X-Plane, and do you think is losing such tumultuous ground, we'll call it, to Microsoft Flight Simulator?
I'm not the best person to ask about it because I went from prepared to Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it seems like the gap is that going to X-Plane is a different learning style. You have to learn different controls, you have to learn different mechanisms for the aircraft, and from prepared to MSFS, it was pretty straightforward. So unfortunately, I can't speak a lot to X-Plane in its future development, though I will say of the MSFS, what they've done is made it very easy for graphics. And that's why within X-Plane, you can see further development of aircraft where it looks like that's what they prioritized. So you'll have A350s and all these planes that we're dying for in MSFS that we can't get because they prioritize the aerodynamic.
Okay, that's a good point. Oh,
Important for a community that's about airplanes.
Yeah.
But in MSFS, it just looks prettier.
Okay, that's good. I think a lot of the flight level dynamics have really improved in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I always heard
very much so.
And Mike, that's something I want you to touch on too, because I always heard that X-Plane is more, the flight dynamics are more precise, more real world, more this, that, and the other. And I cannot tell you how many hours and how many gigabytes of space I spent doing ortho for XP to try to dress up. To try to dress up that view a little bit. Mike, go ahead with some of your thoughts on that.
I mean, believe me, prior to Owls getting me to swap over to 2020, I was exclusively on X-Plane 11, exclusively. I had a 4 terabyte hard drive filled with nothing but orthophoto imagery, and all my X-Plane mods. I had every single product from Tolus, Flight Factor, the Level Up and Zebo 7.3s, all that kind of stuff. I think this was literally when I started streaming September 2023. My first, I want to say, 2 months worth of streams were exclusively X-Plane. So if you scroll back down all the way to the beginning of my channel, which it's only, I've only streamed 140 times since I started, or give or take around that number. It's not a long scroll. So you scroll down. I mean, so you go from my thumbnail today to my first thumbnail ever. It was, there's been a substantial increase in production value, right? But I loved X-Plane. Just for the flight dynamics alone, is where my love for X-Plane sat. Granted, does the game look as good as Microsoft? No, I think we can all agree on that point. But when it came down to swapping over to Microsoft, as a content creator, was almost necessary, right? Because the hype is around Microsoft and the graphics and the upcoming planes and this, that, the third. And I mean, case in point, PMDG, when they dropped the 777, man, that's all that was on my timeline on YouTube for like 2 weeks, was just 777 streams. When it came down to why I have not upgraded to 12 yet, is just because I don't see the necessity for it as of yet, right? There are some airplanes that X-Plane has that Microsoft doesn't have just right now, right? But I just haven't really been able to justify spending $80 on the sim and then applying another hard drive just for all the rest of the mods that I have from X-Plane 11 that transfer over to 12. When Microsoft is, in my opinion, going to be taking over the flight sim market by storm. And I was actually listening to Captain Canada one day talk about this because, as you all know, Captain Canada, before he got onto Microsoft, was X-Plane, right? And I was just recently listening to him say this. It's just like X-Plane feels like the simulator is built for the owner and not for the community, right? And now that's not me knocking X-Plane by any means, because I gave X-Plane 3 years worth of service and worth of money to the add-ons that I have thousands of dollars invested into X-Plane. And I still load X-Plane 11 up every once in a while just to knock around one of the airplanes that I used to fly on a regular basis. But with what's coming with Microsoft 2020, the airplanes coming to this sim, and Microsoft 2024 in a few months, if you guys would have sat in the seminar 45-minute preview that they did at the expo, like 2024 is going to be a whole new generation of sim. Like, it's going to be insane. The graphics have again been modified and look even better than 2020 does now. And 2020 looks phenomenal. 2024 looks even better. It's insane what they're doing with that sim. We're going to have turbulence and wind shear and all that kind of stuff default with the sim, so you don't have to get a third-party add-on for it. There's just, for me, I have zero judgment on what sim you choose. At the end of the day, we're all doing the same thing, hopping into the virtual cockpit and going from point A to point B. Exactly. I have zero. Yeah, I have zero judgment on what sim you use. If you're an X-Plane user, awesome. Do your thing. Laminar Research, they're doing their thing. Whatever. If you're a Microsoft user, awesome. But here's the awesome thing about our flight simulation community. You got a computer and storage to run both, you can fly both. It's just, That's just my opinion on it. I don't see one sim as better than the other. I think both have their reasons and their pros and cons. But with Microsoft, I mean, the flight model being messed around with and having the capability to go into your peripherals and edit curves and make the reactivity what you want it, so it feels a little bit better than what it would stock. It's cool. So if you're an X-Plane user, salute to you. If you're a Microsoft user, salute to you. We're all flight simmers at the end of the day.
Yep, absolutely. Alz, I'm going to come back to you on this. Stand by for me just one moment. EJ, we have a question in regard to this specifically for you from Redneck. What do you think about P3D version 6 and the lack of third-party support? Specifically, EJ, he asked that question. Go ahead.
I think when we look at the development team that supports B6, they have all decided to go with supporting Microsoft. I think that when you look at the way that Batsim has done stuff as well, it has been very much exciting to work with those different developers. But P3D has shown their hand as being, we're here for working with pilots. More than anything else, we're here for working with training simulators and things of that nature. So when it comes to the developers that are working on a consumer level, that's not going to be their style. So we'll see prepared to be what has happened with Lockheed Martin in the past. They'll work with their commercial teams, and you'll see that the people who want to work on a level with consumers is either going to have to go with X-Plane or they'll have to go with MSFS.
Okay. Redneck, I hope that answered your question there. I want to say hello and welcome to the pilot. Grayson is also in the virtual cockpit here. Mike, I love the way you say goodbye from the virtual flight deck. That's one of my favorite things.
It sometimes can get a bit cringy, but
yeah, it's fun.
You got to do it. You got to have fun with it. If you're not having fun with it and this turns into a job, then what's the point of doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. Talon's Aviation is here. My good buddy Talon, who's been flying with me some. I really appreciate him hanging out in my live streams. And Alz, let's get back to you on that question about Microsoft and X-Plane and your thoughts on that.
Well, actually, it's a perfect time to ask because I'm currently in the process of, not streaming today. So I'm messing around with just a bunch of stuff. So I've actually been playing X-Plane a little bit today. And I think I've been saying this before, but I think the main reason why Microsoft is just taking over is simply it feels more realistic. Now, the flight model and all that, we'll get to that. But in terms of looking out the cockpit window, looking at your engine, looking how the scenery looks, that's, literally how it is in real life because it's streamed into the game. And just the weather at times can be a little extra, but most of the time it's pretty accurate. And of course, it's not like X-Plane's live weather on 12. It's like instant. It's like in a few minutes. So I think in terms of how it feels to fly in Microsoft, it just feels more, you feel more immersed. But when it comes to X-Plane, I think X-Plane definitely, if you're just not worried about how the pretty little rainbow looks outside, that sim is going to be free. Because I would say I personally love how the plane handles in X-Plane. I was working on it last night doing some of my not spin training. I was doing steep turns and I was doing stalls that I would do in real life. And
with Isaac as your flight instructor.
With Isaac as my flight instructor.
Nice.
And I can tell you off the bat, it feels, it's not exact. Of course, it's not real, but it was way more exact than Microsoft was. So in terms of flying the plane, I think that's what people that are in X-Plane are still playing X-Plane. That's what they play it for, how the plane feels. But I think the trail, especially with 2024 coming around the corner and probably fixing that flight model kind of barrier we have, I think that Microsoft is going to continue to grow. Because again, when you get into the plane and just looking around, you're like, wow, this looks pretty realistic. And I think that kind of pushes aside how the planes feel. And they don't even feel that bad at Microsoft. Again, like Mike said, you can just edit your sensitivity, add dead zones, do this and that, and make it feel a little bit better. So I think it's just the way the game looks.
And to add on that, just based off of what Owl said about how the feeling of the plane is, I will say X-Plane takes that 100% of the day. And a core example is I was watching Isaac live stream one day, and was it Isaac? It was either Isaac or Falco, one of the guys that are actively working towards their pilot's licensing and all that kind of stuff. I'm almost positive it was Isaac, but they were trying to do approach to landing stalls, if you would. And if those that don't know what an approach to landing stall in a Cessna is, that they basically teach you how to recover an airplane if the airplane stalls out on a short final or something like that, or on approach to the runway. So when I was doing it in my flight training, when I was doing my PPL training back in 2018, or I'm sorry, 2014, gosh, you basically, I was flying at about 3,500, 4,000 feet, give or take, in our practice area. And you would slow the airplane down. You would extend flaps full. You're in a full landing configuration in Cessna. And then you would just pull back on the stick as if you're in a nose up attitude, as if you're going to flare the airplane or whatever it might be. And the airplane stalls out. And all it does, in my experience, in the approach to landing stalls that I was doing with my instructor, is the nose dips immediately. And you just go down, you drop maybe 100, 200 feet in about 5 seconds, give or take.
Come back up.
And then you just recover the airplane, go back into stable flight, retract the flaps, get back up to stable flight, and put your power in. Isaac or Falco, I want to say it was Isaac, but he was trying to do that in Microsoft, in the Cessna, in the 172. And every time he tried getting the approach to landing stall to replicate how it would in real life, he went into a spin.
Yes, some spins.
Yeah, it started spinning. It's like he wasn't doing spin recovery; he was doing approach to landing stall. Like, and in a spin, you have to be able to, you have to start to spin in training, right? So you have to stall the wings and then immediately kick the rudder over for the aircraft to go into the spin. He wasn't doing that in Microsoft, right? But the aircraft was going into a spin. Now in X-Plane, that doesn't happen, because it's accurate representation of a flight model. Because X-Plane also does have a large commercial market as well when it comes to training for pilots and this, that, the third. They have a commercial license. So, that just adds on to why what sim has what pro and what sim doesn't have that pro versus the cons. X-Plane's flight model is miles better than Microsoft. Microsoft still has a good flight model, but it doesn't compare to X-Plane's.
Yeah, that's real interesting to me. So with 2024 coming out, now weren't they coming out on November 17th, and now they're coming out on the 19th? They bumped it up a couple of days, or do I have my days wrong there? I'm not sure.
This is another topic that we should talk about. I've been, in terms of when new stuff is coming out, I just say that's great until I have it. So with the dates of the sim, be like, yay, it's coming soon. I don't really care until
that's the unfortunate part of where we're at in the flight simulation community now, is just we've been burned by so many developers about when something is supposed to come out versus when it actually does. Like look at Phoenix, for example. I'm a huge advocate for the Phoenix 320, but we've heard zero from them since 320 V2. Yeah, it's like we have heard zero about the 319 or 321 since V2 has dropped. But I apologize for interrupting chat. I do apologize. I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm just allowing Jack to run the show, as this is his podcast. So if you guys want to head over to CapnJack Flight Sim, I have linked his channel in the chat. Head over, drop him a subscription. Any questions you may have, he's taking his chat. You can also ask in me. Also, we are doing a giveaway, guys. I know we're mid-flight right now. I actually have, I don't know if you're on my stream right now, Jack, but I have the Discord overlay up on OBS, and I have it set to where we're sitting in first class on the 777. Nice. I have Discord on the monitor, yeah.
I got to see if I can pull that up.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested in CapnJack and the podcast that we do, we try and do it once a week. But as of recent, with everybody's schedule, it's been a little bit harder to schedule that. So I think we're kind of more on a bi-weekly or once a month kind of thing right now, until we can start doing it more frequently based off of people's schedules. Good Men's in the house. What's going on, man? Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you stopping in, guys. We are doing a giveaway. We're doing 2 $25 Sim Market gift cards. And then when we land in Honolulu, I will be giving away a Thrustmaster TCA side stick compliments to the MickityyyMike channel. And as a thank you for 1,000 subscribers on the channel. It's been absolutely insane, guys. Really, really do appreciate you guys for getting me to this milestone in 10 months. It's absolutely insane, right? So again, please head over to CapnJack, drop a sub and a like over on his channel, and get him to, what are you at right now? 400 subs?
No, not quite. Actually, I think we're right under. I'll have to look and see.
Yeah, drop him a sub. Let's get him to that mark, guys. And for those that were asking me questions in chat about when the giveaway is going to happen, all that kind of stuff, guys, we are literally over the Pacific Ocean right now. We have nothing but air in front of us. So we got time to do these giveaways. We're going to be, we got about an hour left in this podcast, give or take. We've been live for about an hour. So we got about another hour of topic of discussion, which is, what we're going to pay attention to for right now. So once the giveaways happen, I will make an announcement. One of my mods will go into the Discord and make an announcement. We're rolling the first giveaway and we'll go from there. Okay. So I really do appreciate you guys. And like I said, I'm not ignoring chat, but I'm trying to do this dual live stream thing and pay attention to chat while talking to Jack and EJ and Owls and all that kind of stuff is proven to be a little bit difficult for me. My brain's not working the right way. So just head over to Jack's channel. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in his chat. And we'll go from there. And
then you'll want to get back with Mike here at the very least. Get back with Mike and everybody who's on board the CapnJack channel. Make sure to head on over there and finish out that stream with him. I know I will be. Hey, guys, let's talk about aircraft real quick. The 777 is out. The MD-11 is out. I just saw yesterday where Virtual Call, which I don't set a lot of great store by Virtual Call necessarily, but they've come out with an A220. And so, EJ, I'm going to start with you. Tell us about the airplanes you're flying. If you tried the 777 yet, I just got it into my hangar the other day, earlier this week. And then, of course, I had to go away for a work week. But, what do you think? And Mike, the pilot Grayson is asking your thoughts on the flight factor 767. But, EJ, let's start with you. Are you flying any of those aircraft? Your thoughts on the new aircraft coming out here that we're having the opportunity to fly?
So the aircraft that we have the opportunity to fly, really fantastic. I've not gotten a chance to try the MD-11 yet.
Prep.
I think
Make sure you prepare for it. I promise you.
Yeah. And because American Airlines, my beloved airline, did fly the MD-11, even though I'm not a fan of MD in total, I've got this wonderful story about why I hate the MD-88 so much. I don't think we had time to explain it, but...
rough take after rough take. It's crazy, EJ. Jeez.
That's what I was about to say, man. I've been on many MD-80s in my life.
Yep. Right. Rough take on rough take.
I'll give you the 1 minute, the 60-second description as to why I hate MD everything.
I'm curious. I'm intrigued.
Here's what happened. The last time I flew Delta, I really did the MD aircraft. This was 2014, and I specifically booked a different aircraft, 737, and Delta swapped the aircraft, and they swapped it to an MD-88. I was livid. I called Delta customer service, and I told them I don't like this plane. I particularly booked away from my family who was flying on an MD-88. I booked the 737. The agent did not know how to handle that. Definitely the first time they've had an issue like that.
The agent was probably like, well, you booked a ticket, not the fucking plane.
Yeah.
That's pretty, I like that. That's funny.
So he's like, well, we'll put you in first class. And I was like, well, okay, all right. The MD-88's not that bad.
Now it's not that bad. Okay. Okay.
But, so MD-11, it is on my list. It's not something that I'm currently operating. I will say this 777, though, it's lived up to the expectations that we hoped for it. They have released a lot of updates to it, which is kind of the issue with PMDG is they want to make it perfect. No matter what they do to it, it's always going to need updates. So I feel like PMDG could have released that 777 a lot earlier.
Yes.
Had some issues and we would have worked that out going forward. But it is a fantastic plane. I'm thankful that they finally got to the point where they released it. Outside of that, I've gotten an opportunity to fly the Bravo 787. That has been a lot better than any of the competition right now. So I can say for the 787, the Bravo 787, the PMDG 777, it is worth your money. Really, really excited to see the 777-200 come out, and I'm hoping it's going to be within this year. Yeah. My money is on it coming out in either September or October.
Yeah. So PMDG actually stated that they're going to be between 4 to 6 weeks between releases of the 777 variants. So whether that's going to be accurate, because we saw how long it took the 777 to release initially, you know, and we're at the 3.5 week mark since this airplane came out. So we got about another few weeks before we should actually be hearing something. And from what I understand, their max is supposed to release between variants as well. So we should have another 3 airplanes in our hangar by the end of the year, hopefully. Now, I say that with a grain of salt, chat. My chat, CapnJack's chat, I say that with a grain of salt, okay? Do not get your expectations up, because think of it. BMDG releases the 777, right? Think of how long it took you to get that verification email with your download code, right? And the reason for that, a lot of people probably might not know this, but within the first 4 minutes, the company was at $350,000 in revenue by sales. There were over 4,000 copies of that airplane sold in 5 minutes.
Jeez.
They were selling almost 1,000 copies a minute. It was insane. Or 1,000 copies. Yeah, 1,000 copies a minute. It was insane. Right. So that's why it took me 2.5 hours to get my email. Because me, Owls, and a bunch of other guys, we were sitting in a Discord call waiting for the release to happen. And as soon as they said it's released, I add to cart, buy now, purchase, credit card information, done. Right. That was at noon Pacific, about 3 o'clock Eastern, Owls, right?
It was like
I had to go to work that day. By the time I went to work, I still did not have my code. So take it with a grain of salt. It might not release when they say it's going to release, and that's just going to be that. They have it now. They have the cockpit and the modeling and all that kind of stuff. It's just a matter of getting it all put together so it can release. Yeah. And side note, I had no idea an A220 release for the sim. So
no, it's not out yet, but it's coming.
Oh, it's not. Oh, okay.
Oh, so I was a little early on that. Sorry about that. Alice, what do you think about all this?
Well, I could definitely say the MD-11. I don't know if anybody's used it other than me and CSD with the newest update, but they dropped like a really big overhaul. I know the collector edition people, they had like minor updates like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then they got to what we're at. But for everybody that just buys it, that isn't a collector, you just got like a one big overhaul update. And it is really, really nice to fly. It flies a lot more stable.
1.0.7 now, I think it is.
Yeah, 1.07. It's heavy. It's sluggish. It feels. I think honestly that plane right now is probably the most realistic when it comes to flight model. Just because it's an MD-11, it's not a little Cessna. It's gonna have some weight to, especially when you load it up with fuel and all that.
Especially in the tail.
Yeah, I mean, you have to really give it you have to move the throttle to almost 40%, a little bit under that, because obviously 40 is a little crazy, but giving it to like 30 and just holding it there for a second for it to just even start creeping and then turning, when you turn it, the nose wheel starts losing momentum. You have to give it more thrust. Taking off is super heavy. It doesn't get off the ground very easily. I mean, it's a really, really nice plane. So I think a lot of people are nervous to buy it because they're like, it's their first plane and $70. I don't think I'm going to get that, but it's definitely worth it. The Bravo 78, like you said, it's been out for a while. I've already said it before. I'm not even going to get into detail. If you want a 787 that doesn't pitch the nose up to 50 degrees on takeoff, get the Bravo 787. It's just simple as that.
The flight model on that airplane is unbelievable.
Yeah, literally. And then the virtual call A220.
Yeah, I was looking forward to your comment on this.
It's I will honestly, a lot of people keep thinking I'm joking. I will actually buy it if it comes out. It's gonna be like what? I think it's $17.99. That ain't much, but I'll get it just to show off how trash that company is. I don't like to diss on companies, but I mean, they come out with planes that we don't have, other than like the E175, and then they make it seem like
I gotta ask you, did you get the E175 that they did?
I was about to, because okay, what had happened was I was looking to get the E-Jets. And I went on SimMarket. I saw those in there. I was like, okay, or not. I forgot where you get the actual E-Jets from, the good ones. But I had found the virtual call ones as well. And I was like, why is this one $20 and this one's freaking like $50-some? So I was accidentally gonna buy the other one, and somebody had stopped me. So no, I haven't got it, but I was about to accidentally buy it because it was cheaper. I thought it was just like different websites for a cheaper price. But it's I looked at the video. I know it's in development, but to be honest with you, I think that development stage of the modeling and everything, I think that's what they're gonna stick with. I don't think they're changing it very much. And
can you send me that? Because I literally was just trying to scroll Google to find the airplane and I can't find it.
Here, let me look it up. It's here. We could, if you want to, Jack, we could watch a part of the video so you could see.
Yeah,
kills my
yeah.
skill set. Kills my skill says in my chat. I'd feel happier losing $1 million than buying any virtual call product.
Dude, like literally, I honestly, it's not like it's the end of the world, but it's essentially, to sum it up, what they did a really 10-minute probably Blender editing of a model of an A220, and then they threw the 787 default systems in there. So
No
again,
shit, really.
it's literally the 787-10 Azobo with a really half butt model of an A220, and now they're selling it for $18. So it's
Wow. Jeez.
it's just hard to
No.
I just don't like developers like that. It's
Yeah.
like it's just like half butt to make money, and people still buy it. It's on Xbox.
I'll tell you, I learned my lesson with the Bredock 737
Oh,
800.
you bought it. Oh,
I
you
did.
poor man.
You know,
poor soul.
that's when I was, that's when I was a baby starting out. I was just, watching Owls and MickityyyMike and thought
I fell for the Captain Sim products. You're fine. You're fine. I bought the 7.6 and the 777s, every single 777.
Oh boy,
Oh, my God.
yeah, and
He's just laughing at me.
Yeah, no.
Said,
Yeah.
oh boy.
I bought the freighter, I bought the 200, I bought the 300, and I bought the 7.6 because I thought it was gonna be better.
Yeah, no.
No, okay,
Hey,
don't
you
ask.
sponsor this man, EJ. You sponsor him, bro.
It was like a year ago. We're not gonna talk about it, okay?
That's
I didn't
awesome.
know. The videos that I was seeing, it was variable and Pulse making videos with it.
Bro, with Owls in the Captain Sim, AJ, if you go back on his channel, you'll see the streams that he did with it. There was one
Dude.
stream he couldn't even get the plane off the ground. It was at like 200 knots
Oh, no.
on takeoff roll, and the plane wouldn't even fucking pitch up. It was hilarious. Right.
Oh no.
But for me, I mean, it's just it takes someone to understand why someone would just do something so minuscule and minimal and put it on a market for people to buy. That's my opinion, right? Now, at the same time, I have to put into my conscience that it's like, okay, there's a market that they're targeting, though. They're not targeting the hardcore simmers that like the high fidelity aircraft and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if case in point, if this is available for Xbox, that's gonna be their bread and butter, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna make a ton of money for the Xbox users, right? But for me personally, it's like, I mean, I didn't even know about the airplane, so that tells you what I know about the A220. To comment on the 777 and the MD-11, I flew the MD-11 one time on stream. I haven't flown it since.
That
That
was that landing was fine.
Pre-update.
That landing was fine.
It was all right. It was all right, but I must have done something wrong because I had no top of descent marker. The aircraft wouldn't slow down. I did something on arrival that set my throttles to toga thrusts that I had to go around, and then I had to hand fly the entire approach back to the runway because I had no freaking clue how to set the box up to reestablish a new approach. Now, however, I will say the airplane feels very good. It is like you have to move your stick. It's not like, the Horizon 7.8 where you go like this with your yoke and the airplane is here, right? The MD-11 is a good airplane, and it's not for the faint-hearted. I will tell you that. It is an airplane that requires a lot of attention. It's an airplane that will challenge your skills. And if that's a challenge you're looking for, I highly recommend the MD-11. It's an awesome airplane. The sounds are phenomenal. And you got to think that big engine sitting on the vertical stabilizer, man. That's
not
very tail heavy. It's very tail heavy, very tail heavy. So, when you pull back on the stick, it's going to go like this initially, but then you have to really pull for it to go up. And like your angle of attack on that approach, dude, is insane. It's insane, right? You really think you're at 5 degrees pitch up on that approach to the runway, but you're here from like 1,000 feet down, just nose up attitude. It's insane. All right. And we all know the PMDG 777, man. PMDG did a phenomenal job with this airplane. I think it's one of the best airplanes we have in the sim as of right now. And I think they really did set the bar for the long haul airplanes that are soon to come, right? Because we have Aerosoft with the 330, INI builds with the 350, fly-by-wire with the 380. Granted, that's going to be a free product, so I'm not going to set my expectations too high. I think the PMDG 777 is really setting the market for these high fidelity airplanes that are supposed to be coming to the sim. Like, the 7.5 and the 7.6 from Bluebird. I mean, those are two airplanes that I am 100% looking forward to. And to answer whoever was asking in the chat about the Flight Factor 767, I can't remember who was asking that, but I had the Flight Factor 767-400. I had the 400 variant in X-Plane, and it's a phenomenal airplane. You get that paired with the with a sound pack. The default sounds are very good, but me being me, I had a sound pack for it. So great airplane. Doing 76400 ops out of Atlanta to Orlando, it was an awesome airplane. So I highly
Delta,
recommend it.
By the way, it was Delta.
Yeah, Delta. Yeah, it was Delta. So, and then to comment on the Bravo Airspace 787, I think EJ took the words right out of my mouth. It is if I think I will say if you're looking for a 7.8 right now in the sim, that is the 7.8 to go to. Not a lot of liveries available for it. Unfortunately, I do not know why that is. I think there might be something wrong with the paint kit or something like that. But you guys just saw me fly the Bravo 788 from Philadelphia to Copenhagen a couple of weeks ago on a long haul stream, and it performed phenomenally. The lighting on that airplane is beautiful. While we were taking off in the nighttime sky, seeing that bright red beacon light over that massive engine it was awesome. It's a good airplane, and for $20, man, you can't complain, dude.
No,
you can't complain. I mean, you can spend $20 on a Bravo Airspace 787, which has a phenomenal flight model, or go spend $20 on the Bredock A380. That's how I compare it. Bravo Airspace has the right to ask for that $20. Bredock,
no,
get out.
No. Out, gone. Hey, Talons Aviation says, and I like this. I had to mute my mic because I laughed so hard. From Virtual Call. Virtual Call is proud to present our version, no study level, no real cockpit, about this model developed for beginners and flight enthusiasts who search flight for relaxation. What in the bloody blazes could be relaxing?
It's completely right too, because that's what like the target market. Because actually that rhymes, target market. Anyways, but it's like what Captain Sim's aiming for. It's what Virtual Call is aiming for. Bredock, it's obvious what they're aiming for. It's just people, usually, I hate to say Xbox players, so not everybody's on Xbox wanting to just game around, but usually targeted, it's on the marketplace for Xbox gamers that, just get on.
I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. Data Flight Sim is in my chat, and he says, "Hey, what's this?" Data. This is a podcast that I do with Owls and CapnJack and all that kind of stuff that we are kind of trying to establish a little bit. And Data is one person I would love to have on this podcast because he knows a ton about the military market with DCS. A ton. He wants. He wants me to get into DCS and get the peripherals so I can learn the aircraft and join their squadron and go do air-to-air fighting and all that kind of stuff and run missions with them. And I was talking with him at the expo. We talked for like 2.5-3 hours about the F-15 alone. And that is one person I would love to have come and sit and talk with us about DCS and why commercial flight simmers, like as in flying a commercial aircraft, don't really get into DCS for questions of intimidation of the aircraft and this, that, the third. So Data, hope you're doing well, man. Appreciate you stopping into the stream. And yeah, welcome to the podcast, man. We're sitting in first class in All Nippon Airways Flight 182 with service to Honolulu. Watching the podcast.
When's the food coming? I'm getting hungry.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, absolutely, Mike. Let's get him in with the group, and feel free to invite him to our streamers Discord that we have. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah,
I'd love to hear what is your favorite aircraft that you guys are operating right now. Then.
Okay, I'm going to start. My favorite aircraft that I'm operating right now, believe it or not, is the DC-3.
DC-3. Yeah,
it's the DC-3. Now, I've done it in a couple of streams. Honestly, my favorite aircraft is probably, the 737. I only have the 700. I have the 900 series. I like flying that. So that's probably but man, getting into this old aircraft on the stream and flying low and slow has been fun. I think, you guys do the commercial airliners just about exclusively. And I think I'm the one that's going to variate off on occasion. We're going to throw the DC-3 in with some of this low-level flight scenery. I love the We Love VFR scenery. It actually puts radio towers where radio towers should be. And,
oh, wow. Well, Jack, speaking of that, you'll be happy to hear that Microsoft 2024 is completely reworking the what were they talking about? Owls? They were talking about how they have like
Dirt
3, 4,
effects, grass
500
effects.
500 different type of models coming into the sim for accurate radio
Trees.
towers for VFR flying, accurate like smokestacks and all that kind of stuff. Trees, landmarks is what I'm trying to say. They're gonna have that's completely being reworked in 2024. So those visual references that were missing in 2020 for those that do VFR flying are coming to 2024.
Oh, okay. Well, that's even better then, because then you won't have to have some outbound software to insert that in.
Yeah.
Same with Bing Map Enhancement. I've been using that a lot lately. I love it. It's great. I can fly over my backyard and see, where the tree was cut down, a couple of years ago. It's really extraordinary stuff. So if 2024 is going to be doing all that, I'm going to let you big guys, I'm going to let you get all the bugs out of it, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Here, I'll actually share these. So you said I was trying to see if this actually was, but we have at my flight school, they have it's like there's a museum part of the flight school, and there's a picture. That's the DC-3 that's parked at my flight school. If you check out the chat.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure. Why don't you put it up on your screen, Al's? Because I'm not sure that I can do that while continuing to run the podcast here.
Here you go. That's our. That's the DC
nice.
that we got.
Nice.
Oh yeah, isn't she pretty? They're just sexy aircraft, man. They're just
Yeah.
The radial engines and the sounds. And, if you go back and look at my stream from 2 weeks ago when I did the DC-3 up around Anchorage, and I was there, Mike, I don't know if you and Al's caught this, but I was there streaming for 40 minutes and had not clicked on the go live button. I just sitting here happily streaming to myself and having a great old time. Wondered why nobody was in the chat until one of my buddies texted me and says, "Are you on?" And I went, "Oh, click. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, fine." But anyway, long and short of it is, flew the DC-3 around Anchorage and Palmer, Alaska, and all that area. And gorgeous scenery, decent landings. You know what? The DC-3 is heavy. You've got to just put it down on the two front wheels, and it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. Got myself almost stuck in a canyon, but I was able to get out of that. But your favorite airplane. Let's continue on with that. Your absolute favorite. What do you think, Mike?
For me, if we're talking about simulator as of right now. In the sim right now, I still put the Phoenix A320 at the top for me. It's an unbelievable airplane. I think Phoenix has set the bar for Airbus when it comes to what we expect for Airbus in this simulator. So, hopefully those that are coming like the 350 and the 330 and this, that, the third, that they're up to those standards. If we're talking about real world, hands down, the 757 is my all-time favorite aircraft ever built, ever manufactured, and that will never change. Because the 757 is
colors, right?
Well, to be fair, I was live when Northwest was flying the 7.5.
Okay.
Wow.
Right? Don't get me started.
So for me,
favorites for American Airlines.
Okay.
You put the American Airlines bare chrome on a 7.5, and now we're talking, right? Their new livery didn't really look too good on the 7.5, in my opinion, personally. It looked better on the 7.6 than it did on a 7.5. That American was just too long on that pencil-looking airplane.
Yeah.
But for me, Northwest was my favorite livery on the 757.
Nice.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like obviously Delta. I mean, I was on the old Delta watercolors livery when I did my first flight from Vegas to JFK IRL. So seeing that red cowling around the engine, all that kind of stuff on the old Delta livery before they updated it to what it is now. Because that was back in 2008, and that's actually when I started traveling a lot. But yeah, the 757, I just have a love for it. To be able to take off and get to cruise in under 20 minutes with those powerful engines, because the thrust output on those engines on such a thin airplane is just insane, So, but in the sim, it's definitely the Phoenix 320. I will say the 7.5 by Bluebird will most likely take that top spot, depending on expectations that they meet.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the 757, to be honest with you, Mike, because I flew on one of those one time IRL, And man, it's just a hot rod. Gee, the amount of power is just crazy.
I was the last 757 that I was on in real life. I was flying from Minneapolis to Vegas. It was a connection out of Philly. I flew a Delta MD-88 from Philly to Minneapolis, and then Minneapolis to Vegas. I was on a 757-300, so I was on the longer version.
Yeah,
and man, the thrust output on that airplane is just insane, dude. It's a rocket ship, and to be able to fly that transatlantic as well, you know, and the fuel efficiency that the airplane offers and the performance it does is just, you know, it's in my opinion, Boeing's best airplane.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave Avery. Dave says we're planning on flying the 757 in real life at United. I can't see because it's behind that stupid little heart.
He said he's planning to fly I guess he works at United. He said they're planning on flying the 75 in real life till 2030, probably even later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hey, Dave, a real pilot in here. We're certainly glad to have you, and of course Isaac, if he's still hanging around Mike or my chat here. Al's, what about you? Your favorite sim aircraft?
Yeah, come on, Gen X. Let's see. Or Gen Z, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry about that, guys. A little bit of an interruption there. My favorite plane would probably have to be that lovely Phoenix A320. I never really flew it that often, but when I got my new PC, it was all I flew just because it ran a little bit better on my system. And I'll definitely say getting into the MD and 777 and all that was great. And then I've, just recently got back into the plane, and I missed it. It was awesome. The sounds, it's just, you're paying, how much is the plane? Like $50-$60? You're paying
like
60,
that. 64 US, I believe it is, something like that.
Yeah.
It's the cheapest plane, and you get great sounds default. Actually, the sound packs sound worse than default. You get a full system plane with working circuit breakers. You get freaking amazing flight model, in my opinion. And also now you get GSX integration, so they sit down. Like passengers can get into your plane, they could sit down, fly with you the whole way. And also you could load up your airplane through GSX, so you could get it to.
Goodman is just roasting you in my chat right now.
What is he saying about it? Okay,
you said Owls is Gen A. Owls has that skibbity toilet wrist.
Oh my
god. Jeez.
But like you get GSX to load up the airplane, and it will load your fuel through GSX. When you board your bags, it will load it up automatically. You don't even have to do anything. You just let it do it. It loads the cargo for you. It automatically calls for catering. And then you turn on the beacon light, it just starts your pushback. So
nice.
I think it's a really, really nice plane. But if you're talking about planes IRL, definitely that 777-300ER. It's just the G90s, the size of the plane. They're just awesome, dude. I love that plane.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, EJ?
Well, I didn't mean in the sim. I'll say that of the aircraft described, the 737 still has my heart on PMGG being able to give that out and make it an efficient aircraft, but fly-by-wire's A320neo, that's my in the sim favorite plane.
Wow, really?
If we're talking about real life, man, I have to say that I feel like the A350 is the one that has produced the best opportunities of like, this is exciting as I'm taking off, and also while I'm on the plane being like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have flown the A350 before, but it's a very unique aircraft to fly. 787's very fun, and as they compete between their two types, the A350 does better. But on the sim, I will say that the fly-by-wire A320neo, one, because it's free, and two, because they did a fantastic job with it.
Those sounds are...
They continue to work on it. You look at these other payware aircraft, the 777 and the 737 are good examples of aircrafts that will continue to need support, but they charge such a premium, and for what they're offering, I feel Fly-by-Wire did a much better job than anybody so far.
Nice. Yeah, I gotta say the 737 is still probably my favorite to fly in the sim together. Although Noah and Mike, you kind of turned me on. Well, Owls too, for that matter, because I watch you guys fly the A320 so much. You kind of turned me on to that, and
Yeah.
I love it. I have to admit, I really do love it. And we've got another couple of questions here, and I wanted EJ to get to talk about what's going on with VATSIM here before we have to wrap up in about 25 minutes due to my time constraint here this evening. But Redneck says, with FSS having 3/4 of the E-jets made by another company, do you think they're a valuable and trustworthy developer, Mike?
To me right now, no.
Okay.
To me right now, no. It's I have a very standardized output or opinion when it comes to development teams. Is you have, in my opinion, since I've been simming for so many years, you have a certain amount of time to meet a mark. And after that time goes by, that's when the trust kind of just starts going by. Oh my gosh, Lotto, my guy. Lotto, I'm sorry, guys. Lotto just coming in with 10 gifted memberships. My guy, really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. Massive W's in the chat for Fly with a Lotto. My guy, really do appreciate you. He says, congrats on 1K, brother. Love you, man. Much love to you, but I really, really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. That is very, very kind of you. Thank you. We got Kills My Skills, Spike Flies, Nolan, Mark, JD Aviation, Grey Eagle, Sim Pilot, Aurora Forza, Austin, Synced, Diamond, Mike, all getting first class memberships. Compliments to Mr. Fly with Lotto, the legend himself, my man. Really do appreciate that. I always got Julian as well, man. Gosh, that's really do appreciate that, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think developers have a mark to hit, and there's a certain time frame that they have to hit that mark, and just FS Studios has not done that. They purchased a product that was near in completion from another company, got it, and has basically done minimal stuff. I mean, they did texturing work, they did some stuff in the cockpit, this, that, the third, but the aircraft, for God's sake, still has a stock FMC, has no custom FMC. And they've had it posted on their website for months now that they're looking for to hire someone to do what's the word I'm looking for? I don't remember the technical term that they're looking for, but a software developer, if you would.
And Mike, did they ever put a date out as to when they wanted to complete that project?
Nope.
Gee. Yeah.
It's just like it's like, hey, we got something for you. It's half-assed, but go ahead. We're gonna release it to you now in the beta stage and make it available for purchase. And I think they did that for marketing. So they needed the money to continue developing the airplane. And I just don't think the airplane has been popular enough for them to meet the monetary demand that airplane needs to finish. That's just my opinion. I could be dead wrong on that. I really could, because I know nothing about aircraft development in the sim. I could barely put a thumbnail together, right? So, I mean, that's just my opinion. And, and FS Studios is not the first company to do that. I mean, Phoenix didn't meet their mark when V2 was supposed to get released, and we were supposed to have it 319, 321 7 months ago, right? And same with PMDG with the delay of the 777 releases and all that kind of stuff. It's just like development teams need to start focusing more on meeting those expectations versus, I want to make every nick and cranny so perfect that even after the airplane releases, I have to send out 4 bug updates within the first 3 weeks. Yeah. Like, it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just that's my opinion. And, I'm not going to discredit them, because in 2-3 months, they might just hit us in the face with an amazing airplane. And at that point, my opinion will change. It's like, okay, we understand why they were doing it, but it's just a lack of, I've said this in podcasts before. If I was a software developer or an aircraft developer and developing anything in the sim, I would be doing regular updates to the community saying, hey, this month, this is what we've worked on. These are the bugs that we fixed. This is the update. This is the roadmap. Hey, next month, hey, we really haven't, there's really not much else to update you guys on, but this is what we're working on right now, and where our team is heavy on making work well. So when you guys get it, it works and functions the way it's supposed to.
So their big thing up has been the VNAV, right?
Yeah, no VNAV and no custom FMC.
Yeah.
Hey guys, let's run on. Mike, one of the things that I really like about you and Al's too is your commentary on the software, because you try out so much and you do so much. So guys, I want to really encourage you once again, go to MickityyyMike's channel if you haven't subbed in there, and sign up and watch Mike and Al's, of course, too. OwlzzFS on YouTube. So be sure to check all of that out. We've got some more questions coming in. Once again, I want to get to EJ here in VATSIM. But let me ask you guys this. Maybe you can give me a fairly short answer, and we'll try to get some of these questions out of the way. But what's the most challenging flight route you've navigated in the simulator, and what made it particularly difficult or memorable? Owls, what do you think about that one? Did we lose Owls for a moment?
I think I was going to step away for a second.
So, EJ, well, I'll go ahead and answer that question. What's the most challenging route, and why have you done in the sim?
So as a person who's more involved in the controlling aspect, I will say it's very fun to watch the people who have the expectation to go direct to a VOR after you depart, right? And that involves vectors, and after you take off, like the tower control will give you a heading 250, whatever that might be. If you're in Europe,
yeah,
they have a completely different setup for this. Everything is German precise. So as you depart, like you have a certain heading and a certain altitude that you're supposed to be a part of. That your aircraft is supposed to be at. So as a person who feels like they're a very good part of the VATSIM environment, I know what's supposed to happen. I've been reprimanded by the Frankfurt team 3 or 4 times within the past month on make sure you follow their procedures. The procedures have a speed limits. So even if 250 under 10,000 is what you are normally hearing within the charts, there are some places like 180 until you pass this point, 220 until you pass this point, and then 240. And if you're at 250 when they tell you 240, heaven forbid.
Yeah.
So I would say that Frankfurt is the hardest place so far that I've worked with in VATSIM, that you have to make sure you have these exact altitudes and these exact speeds.
You know, I have not done any real flying in Europe yet, and I've got to get around to that and learn some of that side of things. I'm going to answer this question real quick, and then, Mike, I'm going to throw it to you, and we'll see if Al's returns. KEJE, Eagle, Colorado, or into Aspen, I think, are two of some of the toughest approaches and most picturesque and most spectacular. And of course, here in my home state. But Mike, I keep waiting for you guys, and I'm going to try to fly with you when I can coincide
soon. Yeah. Your Sim CFI has been on my ass about flying the RJ on stream, so I think we're going to hop into the RJ this week. And I think Eagle County is going to be one of my destinations. So
okay, good. Yeah, I'm going to take the A320 in there because they land those in there, and you do have to have a special type rating to be able to fly into the Eagle and Aspen Airport. So I'll look forward to seeing you pros do it. That'll be really great.
Yeah.
Alice, are you back with us yet, buddy? Oh, he said getting some food. I'll be back soon in the chat. Okay, let's see. Redneck had a question. 2024 coming out. Do you think add-ons will transfer as easily as we saw with X-Plane 12? It was a much bigger hurdle than most. Do you think Asobo's underestimating the task for developers? Mike, what do you think?
So if I were to put myself onto a podium and say with confidence that Microsoft has most likely already given an early stage copy of the simulator to these developers so they can get their stuff prepped, that's probably the case. Mm-hmm. So from what I understand, most stuff that you have purchased for Microsoft 2020 is supposed to transfer over to 2024 because like X-Plane 11 into X-Plane 12, X-Plane 12 was just a massive overhaul of the simulator. It's the same software, just new stuff, right? Yeah. So I'm assuming that that's going to be the case. So now, granted, I could be dead wrong on that. So don't take my word. So that MickityyyMike said, and don't do that. But I'd assume they're going to be relatively simple. I'm assuming like PMDG will probably have to push out some updates for the airplane just so it can operate correctly on FS 2024's SDK. But I don't see it being too big of an issue. And just to answer the previous question really quickly, I want to challenge you guys. Lhasa Airport in China, 11,800 foot elevation above sea level.
Yep.
I flew into it on stream last week in the 320. And man, I was at 30 some odd thousand feet cruise. And as soon as the top of descent came in, I was already within 50 miles of the field. So it Yeah, it's a hard approach. It is, with the mountain ranges in between and the visual references that you have to pay attention to, and especially just the performance of the airplane at over 11,000 feet AGL. As that was a fun one. That was a fun day worth of flying.
Wow.
Because it kept me on my toes.
Yeah.
It kept me on my toes. I would highly recommend you guys check that out. Lhasa. It was a lot of LHASA is how you spell the city. It's a phenomenal airport.
Wow, I'll have to go back and hit the replay on that one. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, we were flying. I was flying the 320. I can't remember exactly what airline I was flying. Szechuan. We were flying Szechuan Airlines in the 320. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have to go back and look through. I'd love to see that. And by the way, I want a MickityyyMike shirt. So when you put those,
this is my 2024 FS Expo shirt. On the back, it has the FS Expo logo and my YouTube handle.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. By the way, Fly with Lotto just dropped a note here in my chat. Came in to drop that like and support. Lotto, thank you. And I'm sorry, man. I think you're in our streamers chat there. You're one of our panelists as well, and you're always welcome to drop in, and we'll get you in here for the next one. I will say real quick, we've got about 15 minutes left, and we are going to try to get Captain Canada to come in as a special guest, and on the next one, he has tentatively said that he would be happy to and love to drop in and do one of these with us one day. So we'll look forward to that, and look forward to asking him a lot of questions. And once again, we're all about the community here, guys. We're all about the flight sim community and the streamer community, and we really want to try to further this and just have people make friends and have fun. For me, I will never be a paid-for streamer. I'm just not. One, I don't have time. Two, I don't have the energy. And three, I just don't care. I will always want to just support the community and bring friends together, as Mike so eloquently put it earlier, over this that we love and are passionate about. So really super important there. Let's see. About 14 minutes left here. Redneck says, okay, we talked about the add-ons. Lotto says, thank you, sir. I'm going through. Okay, we got that going on. Definitely love to stop by next time. All right, we'll see you, Lotto, buddy. Thanks for being here, and I loved seeing the pictures of you at Expo too. What'd you have to eat, Alice?
Oh, I haven't even ate it. I just warmed it up.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, listen, EJ, let's wrap up and talk about VATSIM a little bit. Some of the things that you have going on that you mentioned to me earlier, and some stuff from Mike and Al's about their upcoming streams and things they're going to be doing here that they want to feature. And, of course, Mike, we're flying with Mike even as we speak. Are we out over the Pacific, Mike?
We are over the Pacific right now. We're at flight level 350, cruising at about Mach 8.3. I am live on stream, guys. Those are over at Jack's channel. We are celebrating 1,000 subscribers on the channel.
Yeah.
So we are flying the PMDG 777 from Tokyo Narita over to Honolulu, Hawaii with Al Nippon. And we're cruising. I got the Discord up on the IFE screen in first class, man. We're cruising. We're chilling.
Yeah, let's all hop over to Mike's stream, and when we're done here, and smash that thumbs up button if you haven't yet, and do it for Mike here in a few minutes. Al's, I'm sorry, EJ, what's VATSIM got coming up for us that you want to let everybody know about?
This is the slow time for us, so we don't have a lot of events that are coming up at this point, but I do want to give a strong reminder to the community. as we've had a lot of interesting things that have how to term this.
Mark.
Within the supervisor channels, we're paying a lot of attention to people that are excited to fly these new planes. The Bravo 787, the 777 that PMDG has released, they're exciting planes. If you plan on flying them on VATSIM, be near your device. And if you're not, sign out, because it's very important to VATSIM that you are. And the quickest details to be able to understand this is just that within VATSIM, there's a lot of cost to serve. And there's a lot of understanding that when you're flying on it, you expect to have air traffic control. if you don't plan to have air traffic control services, you step away from the computer, there's no need to be on VATSIM. Please.
Yeah, don't do what I did yesterday, please.
Yeah,
Don't do what I did yesterday. It's ironic.
Do you know what happened yesterday, EJ?
Okay, so
no.
time out. Okay, so
hold on, let me go.
Right. So Owls was flying his stream yesterday in the MD-11 from LA to Orlando, right? I decided to join from Vegas in the longitude, and fly to Orlando in the longitude and join up. Now, at the time that I put the airplane in the air, I had been up about 26 hours because I had gotten off. Yeah, take a notepad out, make some notes. I'll give you my fucking VATSIM identifier too, so you can go ahead and give me a deficit on my give me a check mark, right? So
I think EJ's making some notes there, Mike.
Yeah, about an hour into my flight, I decided it would have been a good idea. It's like, hey, I'm right here. I got Volanta up. I'll see if anybody logs on. I've got VATSIM Radar online as well, so I'll see if ATC pops up, and I'll hear the ping through my headset, because when I take my headset off, I can still hear it while it's on my desk. I decided it'd been a smart idea to lay down and start watching YouTube, right? So I did that, and then
I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, I fell asleep. I fell asleep in the conga line, and I forgot that it was a Friday night, and we were flying to the East Coast. So Friday night ops was a thing.
Atlanta. He went through Jacksonville. He went through the other Jacksonville center, and then they kicked him off, and he crashed in the Atlantic.
Yeah. So I overflew the airfield at 41,000 feet. Plane ran out of fuel. And it went.
Yes, bro.
And I woke up. So I woke up. So my fiance actually woke me up because she was out shopping when I got this flight in the air, right? So she got home and she woke me up. She wakes me up. Cutest thing I've ever seen. She wakes me up. And she's like, "Babe, your thing is what happened to it?" Because she's used to seeing it just flying, and she looked, and it's at the menu where it's at, like it says flight time and my landing rate and all that kind of stuff. And I look over at the computer. I'm like, oh God, dude, no way. There's no shot I did this. And then I look at my phone. Owls texted me. I look at VPilot. I had DMs from Atlanta Center, from Jacksonville Center, from Owls, from Isaac. And then finally, the last message I got was from a Jacksonville supervisor that said, "Hey, doesn't look like you're here, so we just went ahead and disconnected you." So I was like, thank God they just disconnected me, because had I gotten banned, bro, I would have been so upset with myself. And I take fault for that. 100% I take fault for that. I should have known better. I should have not flown with Owls. I should have just laid down, enjoyed the stream.
EJ's like,
right? But now, you know my track record. I have over 1,800 hours in VATSIM with no deficit. I have no discrepancies on my record. So
well, I'm glad they did that. But to all viewers, just know that they don't look at your hours. They pretty much look at your. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Multiple times, if they've seen anything of the sort, they will ban you. And you can't come to me just because I'm a big fan of MickityyyMike. I'm a big fan of Owls. You can come to me and you can complain and you can try. By the way, I'll point this out. I was flying a flight with Mike, and somebody had the funny idea of like, I'll just wallop because my plane got close to somebody else on Unicom while we were in Unicom. Don't do that. Because once you warp into a supervisor, I have to back out. This is something where it's a conflict of interest. I'm here for the fun of it. Don't do it. I have no control of it. And when you have an instance where like, hey man, I'm gonna have a accidental moment, I'll call EJ. I cannot get you out of trouble.
And guys, this is why I always say on the channel. I love when you guys fly with me. I really do. When we have those long conga lines, especially when we're flying with Owls and stuff like that, we love the company. However, if you join, fly properly. Okay. Yeah, these funny accents and this, that, the third. It's okay. Whatever, right? But if you're flying like you're on the Microsoft multiplayer server, or this is just another day in Grand Theft Auto, right? Then we have partners on the channel, the VATSIM Caribbean division. The logo is literally on the bottom right hand side of my screen right now. Ooh, Mr. EJ Davis sitting on top right side of that screen is a supervisor and vice president of operations. So when he's in my chat and people are flying with me acting a fool, then he has to step out from being my sponsor to now being a VATSIM supervisor, right?
Yeah.
So So please, if you guys fly with us and you're, even if you're not flying with us and you're just flying on the VATSIM network, don't act an idiot. Don't be an idiot. Just fly rate. It's a virtual air traffic simulation. I will emphasize simulation. Okay, it is not virtual air traffic. Let's log on and have fun.
Let's log on and have fun.
Yeah. And guys, know your aircraft. Know your aircraft. I mean, we all make mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen. Something's going to happen. And I've always found that the VATSIM guys are very patient with that kind of thing, or you can ask them for vectors or something if you're really screwed up and you've just lost. I've had that happen to me one time, and flying into Denver of all places. You'd think I'd know that like the back of my hand. But know your airplane, know your procedures.
Saying I have fun on vets. Oh my God.
Yeah, Talons, speaking of mistakes, what about that one in Boston landing? We won't talk about Boston. But anyway, know your stuff.
Oh, just ask Owls about Indianapolis. They're still actively repaving that runway.
I'll have to go back and look for that one, though. All right.
No, you're good. You're good.
Did you hit the delete the stream key? Is that?
Yeah, I might actually have to do that.
No matter if you delete it or not, it's right here, buddy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, this has been fun as always. Such a tremendous opportunity here to get to talk, to get to share our love and passion. Mike, I love the way you put that. You should print that and put it up in front of every one of our monitors here. It's really good stuff. MickityyyMike, OwlzzFS, and of course our wonderful VATSIM guy, EJ Davis. Where'd he go?
Okay. He said, "I'm out." Meme.
Oh, okay. Okay. It looks like he's coming back. Mike, you're in cruise right now. Tell us about your flight. What you got coming up? What you got in the future here, real quick.
Yes, sir. So again, ladies and gentlemen, today we are live from flight level 350 with CapnJack on the podcast. We are cruising from Tokyo Narita International Airport over to Honolulu, Hawaii to celebrate the 1,000 subscriber milestone that we just hit a couple of days ago. So we are actively flying right now. As you guys can see, we're chilling in first class, just watching the podcast, listening to the awesome remarks from EJ Owls and CapnJack himself. Once the podcast finishes up and all that kind of stuff, guys, we're going to go back, get the music start bumping back up. We're going to hop back into the cockpit, do a position report, see where we're at. And we are going to roll our first giveaway, which is going to be a first copy of a $25 Sim Market gift card. So
going to OwlzzFS.
Yeah, right. So I am doing 3 giveaways today, guys. So we're doing 2 Sim Market gift cards, both at $25 in value. And then once we land in Honolulu, compliments of the MickityyyMike channel to thank you guys for the support and getting me to this milestone. I will be giving a Thrustmaster TCA side stick giveaway to a lucky member of the chat. There are a couple of stipulations to win that giveaway. So just make sure that you listen to the beginning of the stream, because I went ahead and noted those stipulations, and I will note them again once we finish. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So it's just a huge celebration today doing this long haul flight. It's been awesome doing this podcast while live, man, and just joining in from the airplane. Man, after today, we're just going to go back to our normal streaming schedule. We're probably going to do some CRJ ops this week, do some regional hops over to Eagle County, Jack. Right. And then me and Owls have actually kind of been testing around doing shared cockpit in the longitude. So we might, that might be coming to your guys' channel here soon. So we'll see. But really do appreciate it. I appreciate you guys tuning in with me. As soon as the podcast ends, I'm going to be right back to my live stream and all that kind of good stuff. And, man. And a huge shout out to, again, EJ Davis on the top right side of that screen there, the Vice President of Operations over at VATSIM Caribbean Division, man. Awesome group of people. If you guys want to check out the VATSIM Caribbean Division, their Discord is in my description of my my live stream. You can go and join, and you can check out what they do over there and all the events that they have coming up and all that kind of stuff. Got a lot of really cool stuff coming up. So we will see, man.
Mike, when this is over, head right on over to Mike's channel. Owls, what you got coming up? What you got going on next stream? What you got featured coming up in the next few weeks here, buddy?
Well, hopefully sometimes this week we could finally have a celebration of whatever milestone I'm at by the time we could have it. Because it was first supposed to be,
You keep hitting them, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, he plans to do one, and then the next milestone hit, and then he does another one.
Well, we're supposed to do a 10K special, so I had Waves, the guy that made my liveries. I made him make a bunch of liveries. We started a virtual airline, and then we're gonna have a Conga line across the U.S. with the virtual airline for 10K. But we were trying to work on the model matching because it's like hard to get VATs and model matching keys. So we're trying to get that to work right. This seems like the livery is jacking up. But every time we keep waiting, I keep hitting another mark. But I'm very grateful for that. But other than that, Conga Line, we're gonna have probably just our normal stream, just normal live streams. I think the next exciting thing I'll do, if you want to say, is gonna be X-Plane. I was again messed with X-Plane today, and I got it a little bit more stable. It looks like a little bit better, so I'm gonna run some test flights on it. We'll be hopefully hopping in that sweet A321 here shortly.
So because you've missed all these milestones, you now are required to do JFK to Sydney, like 15 hours. All right. An extra hour on top of the long hauls for every 1,000 you've missed.
I think that went right over and out the window there, Mike.
No.
Oh, guys,
that was 777 giveaway. Oh yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
And by the way, thanks to the very generous benefactor who gifted CapnJack with the 777. No kidding. I was floored. Really appreciate that. EJ, any parting words? Man, so great to see you. Thanks for all you do on VATSIM and being part of this group. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, fantastic to have you guys join us when you can. Also, want to give a shout out to Vertical Sim. Don't sponsor me because I don't have a channel anyways, but I will say that their scenery has been really fantastic. I've gotten to know it through Mike, and they just recently did an airport that I'm very close to, Huntington.
Yep.
And, great airport. Great airport.
Yep.
That approach is beautiful, man.
As a matter of fact, I won that on CST's channel.
About it, Mike, but I'll say that, like, from my perspective, it was fantastic. Really, really great job of capturing that airport. So, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I won that on CST's channel the other day, so I was real happy to get that. Well, guys, thank you so much. Thank everybody in the chat. By the way, Talon's Aviation is going to have a live stream later after MickityyyMike, so check that out. Owls, when's your next one? When are you going to be on next?
It was supposed to be tomorrow, but to be honest with you, I ain't streaming tomorrow, so probably on Mondays.
Watch the channel. Watch the channels. Look for the announcements. Sign up in Discord. All that great stuff. Well, guys, I'm going to let Mike do his usual. Well, actually, no, you're still flying. You can't close out the virtual flight deck, can you?
I mean, I can for the podcast, but
okay.
I'll have to do it again towards the end of the stream.
Okay,
but guys, we truly do appreciate you guys tuning in with whoever those that are still tuned in with me live as we're flying over the Pacific, and those that have tuned into CapnJack. Again, guys, those that are live with me, if you please would do me the favor to you know what? If you want to win the giveaway, you got to go subscribe to CapnJack. That's a requirement. Anyway, really do appreciate you guys tuning in with us today as we talk to everything flight sim like we usually do. I know we're kind of a bit on a time crunch here. That's why a lot of questions have kind of been skipped over, and some things have had been ended quickly. But really do appreciate you guys being here, and hopefully the next podcast, from what I hear, will have
stop real quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Owls. Yeah, go on, keep on, bro. You keep on, man. Keep on. Like I said, I'm about to take my membership. I'm going to sue you for back pay.
Crazy.
I've got you guys up. I've got you guys up on the live stream in the 4 Hollywood Squares here, and I was about to just die watching Owls. Yeah, it's all good. By the way, hello, Flyby Mo, and welcome, buddy. Good to have you. Thanks for being in here, Mike. Okay, go ahead. You got it, Captain.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So hopefully the next podcast, don't know when it's going to be. We're going to have to talk about our schedules and get it all set up. But from what I hear, we might have the legendary Captain Canada joining us on that podcast. So we shall see. It'll be awesome sitting and talk with him. I talked to him at the expo. He's a fantastic person. I proved to him that I can land better than Owls at the Thrustmaster landing challenge. Just saying.
The goal was to get it on the touchdown zone in the box and stop.
I still had
just that. I did just that.
Yeah, just a happy rivalry. Sorry, my dog.
Oh my gosh.
We hear more about that in the next podcast. I want to know who won that.
Yeah. Oh, it's live on Captain Canada's channel. You can go see it. But yeah, guys, we'll see you guys all in the next podcast. Really do appreciate you guys tuning in with CapnJack today and asking your questions and all that kind of good stuff. We will be live again. CapnJack will post out of that announcement, as I know he does so proficiently. So, but if you guys are still wanting to hang out and talk and all that kind of stuff, continue to ask me questions. I am live over at MickityyyMike, MICKITYYMIKE, as we are doing a giveaway celebrating the 1,000 subscribers, man. So head on over to the channel if you want to hang out. If not, we will see you guys all in the next one. So from the virtual flight deck, we will see you.